rejoice, let the world hear your voice. Heal us, wash us clean. We are one, we're all we need. When you're ready, I am you, you are me.
Welcome to the Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show. I am your host, Sister Speak, recording from Dallas, Texas. I want to welcome all of my first-time listeners as well as my regular listeners. You are listening to the Culture Climate, where we focus on conversations that other people are afraid to have. We focus on the inner me's and exposing the enemies. This is where we focus on taboo subject matter and controversial conversations. No punches will be held back. This particular segment is definitely for mature audience listeners only. Only if you cannot handle bold conversations, this is not the segment for you, and you may dismiss yourself at this time. But for all of you all who are ready to get into it, for all of you all who understand that there are pressing issues that are and have infiltrated our communities, our tribes, and are a trailblazer, an advocate, someone who seeks wisdom, someone who is not just here, then this is definitely the segment for you. The Culture Climate. The temperature is hot. The degrees are high. The expectations are serious. You must, in order to listen to this particular segment, you must have scuba gear. If you do not have scuba gear and do not know how to swim, you will not survive through this segment because it is raw, it is uncut, it is unapologetic, and I am on a mission. What is your mission, Ayana? To make sure that I don't hold back what I've been given to say, to provide wisdom and to address certain subject matters that are not being addressed in spirit and in truth. My middle name is Sojourner. Come on, somebody. My mother wanted to name me Harriet Sojourner. Mother, please, calm down. It's too much, okay? But on the Culture Climate, the designation is exposure, truth, wisdom, and the potential gathering of minds to execute the already given solution to alleviate the pollution. Some will say, well, this is going to be a racist segment. this is going to be a bashing segment, I say leave, because that's not what this is about. This is about the truth. This isn't about attacks. This isn't about being offensive on purpose. This is about saying it like it is. I'm not a black woman who straddles the fence. I'm not an Israelite who straddles the fence. I'm not confused about who I am, what I see, and what the root of many of these situations is. This is not a kumbaya segment. This is not a, oh, what would Dr. King do segment. This isn't what this is. And there's no disrespect to Dr. King, but I don't have to agree with everything that somebody does. And that's also your right with me. But in today's culture, in today's climate, it has been out of control. And it is at the hands of several groups of people who do not look like me. White people, some, not all, have the spirit of wickedness within them, demonic spirits within them that negate their speech and behavior, that allows them to misuse and misrepresent the true gift of power, the true gift of authority, the true gift of legislation, the true gift of being a human. We need to understand that there are causes and effects. This podcast is not for those who are going to say, well, what about take your weak-minded self out of here. We have to hit the hammer on the head of the nail in order for it to go through and do what it is supposed to do. Stick there and be solid. This is not a my best friend is black, my best friend is white podcast. This is not what this is about. I don't want to hear emotions that don't have logic as its master. You have to master your emotions with logic in order to be in control. That's how you navigate through this world. That's how you create balance. You cannot have balance if you do not have logic. If you are only acting off of emotions, you'll never be able to stand still and see. You'll always be a busybody. That's why sometimes before you react, you need to decide whether or not this is an assignment that you are even supposed to be on when it comes to advocating, when it comes to protesting, when it comes to doing anything to boycott the behavior of evil, demonic people. Spiritual warfare is real. If you do not think that there is not an unseen realm, then there is an unseen realm. A spirit world. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. If you do not believe the Bible, then this is not a segment for you, because how can you link things up? You're always searching for other things, but when it comes to something that actually is for your soul, for your benefit, for your understanding, for your history. Come on. So when it comes to the spiritual wickedness in high places, the principalities, when it comes to the devious, premeditated, psychotic behavior of some white people, there is going to always be a warfare. Tonight's subject matter, tonight's episode on the culture climate is titled Dangerous White Women, Exposing the Rage. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Whether you're at work, at home, or on the road, it's always a great time to podcast and chill. And I'm inviting you to podcast and chill with me, Sister Speak, and listen to the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve, with 6 segments that include the platform, coming to the stage, the suspense files, the culture climate, the laugh line, and the tour, with over 170 episodes guaranteed to motivate you, encourage you, and have you laughing. Why not? I'm excited to podcast and chill with you. It'll be worth your time. I guarantee it. I'll see you later. Vision, sound, action, create, inspire, impact, evolve. You are now activated. Welcome back. You are listening to the Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show. I am your host, Sister Speak, recording from Dallas, Texas, and I am excited to converse with you all this evening. You are listening to a podcast that consists of special guest interviews, live on location reports, in-studio interviews, as well as live performances. Now, the Sister Speak show is a talk show that will keep your mind and your soul informed, energized, and encouraged. We are a cultural renaissance platform that influences a climate that is conducive to who you are and who you should be. No reckless entertainment, just responsible listening nourishment. Excuse me. We don't go dumb, we go wisdom on the Sister Speak show, and it is about making the known known. Let's get into it. Sometimes you have to take a deep breath because you know you are getting ready to go into the trenches, and it's serious. You know, it is very serious when it comes to the state of the 12 tribes of Israel versus the nations. That's what you have to call it is. One thing that we have to get to the beginning of is the fact that the devil is a liar. That is the one thing I want everybody to get embedded in their mind. The devil is a liar. He is the father of lies. That means that you are the head of lies. You are the creator of lies. All lies are birthed from you, because we know that men carry the children first, correct? So here we have the father of lies. Just going to leave that right there. The devil goes around seeking whom he may devour. Now, it is no mystery that there has been a war, a lot of times called a race war, that has been going on. It is no mystery that white some white folks, and I say 90%, do not like anything or anyone that does not look like them. And as a result of that 90%, there is a allegiance of hate, prejudice, wickedness, evilness that they have adhered to and have set forth to keep the 12 tribes of Israel oppressed, depressed, in poverty, treated inhumanely, and lynched. There are a group of 90%ers that sit off in their think tanks, get no rest, devising ways to create a more evil caste system than that already exists in order to continue to live in the lies that they are the superior race. They really believe it. They believe that they are the superior race. And as a result of that belief, they have obviously abused and highly misinformed themselves of what power is. They fooled themselves into believing that they were the superior race. And as a result of the 90%ers, the level of privilege and entitlement has created a drunkenness within their soul. That is their high. Wickedness is their high. Evil plans are their high. Forget heroin. Shoot them with some power, some quote unquote white power, and watch what happens. Let them get enough encouragement, enough courage rather, based on political figures that look like them, and watch what happens. They have given themselves permission to be evil with no consequences, no repercussions, no apologies, no empathy. Completely apathetic to any other human within the 12 tribes of Israel that exist. Predators seeking to destroy the superior races, the majority. You will never, ever, ever get me to ever say that the 12 tribes of Israel are the minorities. We are the majorities. There is nothing minor about us. Everything about us is major, which is part of the reason why there is an inferiority complex within the 90%ers. You want to talk about low self-esteem? You want to talk about an inbred hate and jealousy? It starts within first. We are the majority. We are. We are not the inferior race. There's no way we can be. How? How when we come from the Lion of Judah? We are the 12 tribes of Israel, his chosen people. There's nothing minor about us. But here we are in this world dealing with these 90%ers who want us to go back to Africa. If you ever want to do an IQ test on the 90%ers, just listen to them. You'll find out everything you need to know about their level of thinking, their level of reasoning, their level of wicked privilege. Anything you want to know, just don't say anything and just listen to them. Confused. And we do know who the author of confusion is, the devil. Go back to Africa. And where will you be going back to? Because this isn't where you're from. Don't tell me you've got some Native American. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm going to tell you, I don't want to hear about nobody's daddy, best friend being black. I don't want to hear it. I am speaking just what it is. If you are in a family with interracial marriages, dating or whatever, everybody has that. Everybody. Nobody doesn't. It's somewhere in everybody's family because that's just what it is. Okay? So we're going to get rid of all of the emotions and deal with the logic. Where will you go back to? Because you're not from here. What is it within the 90%ers to where you are always killing and destroying, devouring? What is that in you? Do you know those are the characteristics of the devil that is described in the Bible? Relentless, savages, blood on your hands for days, for centuries, for decades, blood on your hands.
Well, I didn't have slaves. Okay, so I'm not a part of this. I don't really appreciate what you're saying because how dare you and who do you think you are? I've done so much for the black community. You don't, get out.
See, that's what it is. Because when you hit that nerve, just watch the 90%ers. Just watch them. Watch the rage begin. Watch the excuses. When you hit somebody where it hurts, there's a hit dog gonna always holler. Real talk. So where will you go back to? There it is again. Believing you are the superior race. And as a result of President Donald Trump being the elected president of the United States of America, there are the 90%ers who have taken it upon themselves to say that we can do whatever we want to do because our president is white. I understand. Could not wait for Barry Pethero to get out of office, Barack Obama, to get out of office. I understand because now here it is and it's Make America Great Again. That is a narcissistic statement. That's a narcissistic statement. MAGA to me stands for Make Africans Go Away. I mean, you can get into it. But where will you go? Because the only people who could be here would have to be the Native Americans. My people, who you slaughtered, who you killed, who you lynched, who you scalped. Took away their food sources, came in and just did your thing, right? But I know for a fact you slept with some of the women because you always have to do that. You always have to try it out, right? Gotta try you some. Can't even be faithful to your own women. Through the decades, through the centuries, this is a fact. So, fast forward. We understand slavery. We understand the horrific journey that took place for the slave trade. We understand that it was the 90%ers ancestors that did that. Now, of course, you don't ever want to talk about that. Oh, come on. Ah, you're crazy, lady. No, it's your people that are crazy, because only somebody crazy would do those things intentionally. So here we are, and we're in this country. Now, to the 12 tribes of Israel, this is very crucial that you get this in your bosom. And I'm not here to make anybody happy. I'm just here to say it like it is. When it comes to the 12 tribes of Israel, we do need to understand that slavery is a punishment given to us by the Most High God. To us. Let's move the 90%ers out of the way for this conversation, because you need to understand the root. Because it's when you understand the root that then you can begin to strategize how to advocate, strategize how to move. Then you will learn how to remove the spirit of hypocrisy that is in all of us. We are being punished for choosing not to follow the commandments, choosing to have false gods when he said, you shall have no other God. We walked away, and this is our punishment. We were punished in Egypt, and now we're being punished in Babylon. It is in the Bible where it speaks about yokes of iron and chains. You tell me, who do you know? Any other tribe? Who else was sent that way in slavery? And here we are. So when it comes to marching and rallying and protesting and doing all of those actions because of the pressing times, because of the being absolutely fed up with the disgusting abuses of power, we need to first, before we go out of our homes, we have to repent. We're still on punishment. When is it going to be over? Well, when are we going to repent collectively? If my people. That's not a joke. People say it and it sounds wonderful because it is. It's a solution for the pollution. It's the panacea. So what the hell are we doing by sitting around here and not getting to the genesis, the root of what we need to do in order to be healed as a people, so we can stop going through this mess with the 90%ers? I don't want to have an electric slide. I don't want to have a fish fry. I don't want to sit there and twerk in front of any cop's face. I don't want to get out there and get to, doing all kind of revolutionary actions before the prerequisite. Okay, hear me on that. Before the prerequisite. We have to express ourselves. If somebody chose to go about it that way, that's what they chose to do. But if we are interested in healing and pressing forward and getting into a position of getting ready to see reverse servitude, a new Jerusalem, for the sky to crack, for the Most High God to come back, and his son Jesus the Christ to come back, well then I'm saying, are you really tired? Have we had enough? because you can't just throw bricks before you actually implement the regimen and the prescription that has been given to advance us and to heal us and to get us back on one accord so the Lord can do his thing for us. He is pressing down on us. I am really amazed at how resilient we are in not getting it, in choosing to bounce back a different way. You believed, and I have to say this, we got us a black president. We got us a black president. But before your black president, you have a black God. So shame on you for rooting and tooting for the appetizer. I will never worship the ground that Barack Obama walks on. He has not done anything for me. He was never there for me. So when it comes to Sister Speak, when it comes to voting, the first thing I did when I was 18, I registered to vote. Because my parents grew up in Alabama in the civil rights era. They grew up in the 40s, y'all. You can only imagine the level of poverty and the level of hatred that they had to endure. So I felt like at the time it was my obligation to register to vote. But then the Lord allowed me to seek wisdom and wisdom to actually come to me. And then here I am saying, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. Well, And then I said to myself, why in the world do I need to vote for another master when I have one? And there's no president that has, is, or will ever be able to replace my Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ. That's why I don't vote. It does not count. It will never count. Because I have what I need. He is my source. When you have two masters, you will love one and you will hate the other. A house divided will never stand. They don't love the Lord. They believe Jesus is white. So for me, I've always had a black master. I've always had a black savior who is real. So how I navigate is totally different. When people sit there and say, oh, your president acting up. No, that's your president, boo-boo. Don't put that man off on me. Don't put him off on me. He has nothing to do with me. It's that spirit with him that has something to do with me and my people. And that leads to tonight's episode. Dangerous white women exposing the rage. Exposing the mental illness. Exposing the hypersensitivity of their ignorance. Exposing their neurotic behavior. Exposing how much they love to say the word nigger. Nigger means an ignorant person. Well, who came up with the word nigger? And who came up with the meaning? And then who put it in the dictionary? When I hear that word, to me, it's a narcissistic insult. That's really how you feel about yourself. You know, you call people names and you're really projecting. You're the ignorant one. White women who cross the line, the 90%ers that cross the line, calling the cops, screaming when nobody is touching them, acting a fucking fool. Putting themselves in positions where people gotta decide if this is the day they're gonna go to jail because you finna get the shit slapped out of you. The 90%ers who now, you know, they call you the Karens. Well, there's a group of Keishas that's coming for you. No, this is not inciting violence, but you got the right one today. What does that mean? What does that mean, Sister Speak? It means that there are going to be some Karens that are going to encounter Keishas that ain't having it that day. The question on the table is, who gave you the authority to act like this? What gives you the authority? What in you makes you think that your behavior is okay, dangerous white woman? You want to talk about the angry black woman as if being angry is a bad thing. Being angry is not a bad thing. It's sitting in your anger that has a consequence. But being angry is not a bad thing. It's an emotion that you can have with logic. So when you say the angry black woman, what you're really saying is the passionate woman, the woman who has had it, the woman who recognized that what is happening is incorrect, it is inhumane, it is injustice, and that there has to be some type of response, an execution of plan to eradicate the fuckery that goes on towards the 12 tribes of Israel. Who gave you the authority? Put your hand on your hip and act a dang fool. That is a demonic spirit, the spirit of the devil, because the devil hates God's people. Say it. That's what it is. You hate God's people. Now, some of you are going to say we are all God's people. Please take your pamphlet, white Jesus thoughts out of here. We are not all God's people. We are all his creation. We are not all his people. And you let that rest in your bosom. Let that sit deep down in your bosom, dispelling all the lies and the myths that have been taught to you through the religions. We are not. You hate God's people. That's why you do what you do. You hate our skin tones. You hate our lips. You hate everything about us. But then you culturally appropriate. I'm going to stay on subject because that's another topic. That's going to go into part 2. The Karens. The dangerous white woman. Seeking whom she may devour. Lying and saying it was a black man that did it. It was a black man. Oh, he's attacking me. Oh my gosh. Help. Help. Oh my gosh. I started it, but now I'm going to throw the rock and hide my hand and play the victim because I'm really out here just being a devil. I'm a 90%er. Oh my gosh, this black man is trying to hurt me even though I started it. That shit. That's what we have to deal with. And it's been going on. You've been doing it. Sleeping with the field slaves and then having to go home and lie and say you got raped because your vagina, it has opened up because who you were sleeping with, there was never even indication that you had ever even been penetrated. I'm just keeping it 100. But then you got with that field slave and he opened you up and now you got to pretend like you got raped because the slave master then fell inside of you. Just being real. You think those white women didn't see them naked black slaves when they were auctioning the black men off? They saw those huge genitalias as well. That's part of the reason why the white man was so infuriated. Because, Ayana, but that's not all true. Look, a majority of it is. Well, there's little sizes that come in every culture. Check this in. A majority of what I'm saying is the truth. The girth, the width, the whole physique was intimidating. But the white women were in the corner like, oh my gosh, Becky, look. I'm serious. Next thing you know, she's out for a brisk walk, and then here we are. But then she doesn't want to get caught, so she has to lie and say that she got raped. And the next thing you know, another black man is hung, lynched. They used to tie black men's arms, one to one horse, one to the other, and have the horses go off in different directions to pull off the arms of black men. Yo, white men did this. Evil. The 90%ers are evil. I'm telling you, that's just wicked shit. How do you even come up with that type of violence? What in you would even say, this is what you gonna do? You have to have some. It is inbred, it is innate, it is in your DNA, the 90%ers. That is some evil, evil, evil stuff that you have done to my people. And still to this day, some black men still won't leave a white woman alone. You will never learn. Now, here we go. I understand what some of you are going to say. Well, my dad is black and my mom is white, or my mom is white and my dad is black. I'm not responsible for that. So I don't have a level of sensitivity on that. As I said, there is interracial aspects in everybody's family. But the facts are the facts and the truth is the truth. There has never been a win-win situation for a black man messing with a white woman. It has always come with heavy consequences on every side of the spectrum. Heavy consequences. Because there are still a majority of people on all gamuts of being a human who are all for segregation and are not for integration on the level of interracial relationships. Part of the hate is seeing somebody who is not from where you're from being with somebody who's from where you're from. And then as a result of these things, here we are. Black men getting harassed and killed at the hands of police officers, Ku Klux Klansmen, political officials, because of dealing with white women. And then you have the brothers who forsake the 12 tribes of Israel, the women from the 12 tribes, and then you go off into the nations looking like a damn fool. You have not elevated. You have not graduated. You have put a target on your back. Actually, the target on your back is bigger than it was before, and you are being laughed at. You're considered a coon. You're considered an Uncle Tom. You are considered an overseer. You are considered a sellout because you have forsaken the 12 tribes of Israel. There are women in the 12 tribes of Israel, if you have to deal with somebody of whatever color hue your preference is, from a lighter hue to a darker hue, all hues of women are represented in the 12 tribes of Israel. There is no way, shape, or form you could ever tell me that you cannot find a sister from your tribe. You just can't. What it is, brother, is you are traumatized from being bullied when you were younger from the sisters. And so as a result, you did not heal. So your whole choosing mechanism is off. And here you are thinking that you can find comfort in the nations because the 12 tribes have rejected you growing up as a child. I say to you, heal, get over it, and press through. And you better walk away before it's too late. If you are dealing with a 90%er, I'm telling you, you're in trouble, bucko, as they call you. The dangerous white women who lie, who maliciously seek out, the 90%ers who believe that Trump is God. Oh, we don't want you here. We don't want you here. Take your cell phone back now. Go on back to Africa, you nigger. What the hell are you doing here in the first place? Look at you. Just look at you. Black lives don't matter. You can't come into our establishment with that poster. You can't have that on. All lives matter. Do you know that when I was in 1954, I sat right next to Dr. King, right next to him. And I asked Dr. King, I said, Dr. King, would you like some gum? And Dr. King said, I sure. I am not racist. My grandbaby is black. And that's the problem. A lot of the 90%ers, a lot of the 90%ers have interracial grandchildren. Ooh, that's got to be tense. That has got to be tense. I wonder how that interracial child is treated. Especially if the daddy's black. The daddy is black. That child is black. Because whatever your father is, you are. I wonder how they're treated. We'll be right back after this commercial break. You are listening to the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. You are listening to the Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Sister Speak. The intense, I know, conversation intense, and I have no apologies for anybody. You don't have to listen, but I am going to tell the truth. Period, point blank. Okay, so this is what we're going to get into, brothers and sisters. I decided to do my research because that's what I have to do whenever I put these programs together. I like to do my research to make sure that I can come out with solid punches. So, we're going to listen to clips that I gathered from Instagram concerning dangerous white women exposing the rage. When you see these type of videos, you have to be very careful. You cannot watch them every day because something, if you don't control it, will make you want to slap the crap out of somebody. You have to be very careful when you watch these videos. So we're going to get into it. The Sister Speak Show, the Culture Climate, dangerous white women, exposing the rage, recording from Dallas, Texas, for mature listening audience only. Strong ideas and strong language will be bellowing from me on this particular episode. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's get into it. I'm going to definitely cite my source. This is from Instagram, a collection of videos on Instagram exposing the rage in white women.
Working to pay bills. Well, go ask a bitch. Send him on welfare. Who the fuck on love? You just call us a nigga. I promise you, she on her ass a little. I promise you. Like, I mean, we grew up outside. Did you just like, you just call us a nigga, man? I think why you got that big bag, because you're trying to steal. Excuse me. Lives matter, man. Half the white people be all over, but we ain't listen to you. With your whole ass. Lives matter. Yes, they do matter, but yours not in 3.5 seconds is not. I found niggas who are on food cards for 10 years or more, and they limit housing. Excuse me, that's outside when you're done. That's what I'm saying. It's none of this. Not about doing this shit, expecting to call us a nigga. This is why they get shot and killed. I might shoot and kill you out. Girl, Coco, you think it's like you really shoot them that style truck their animals. They're proactive. Lord Jesus. They're not even like. That's why they get killed. That's girl. I'm really the media fiasco. Hey, I'm about to be I promise you more. We in the fucking show they call us white. And she right in our fucking face. An apartment from $1,300 to $1,400. It's $2,000. Absolutely. Respectfully. Sure. So we're just saying, absolutely, your signs and everything, and that's good. This is not the way to do it. Okay. It's private property.
But if I did live here and it was my property, this would be absolutely fine. And you don't know if I live here or if this is my property.
We actually do know. That's why we're asking.
Oh, really? Because you live here, right? You said so.
Because we know the person who does live here.
Oh, okay.
So
Then I suggest you call them
I'm not
or
disagreeing with
call
you.
the police. Or,
Call the police.
because you're accusing me of a crime, correct?
What I'm asking you is why are you...
And I'm not answering you.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So your choices are to call the cops if you believe I'm calling a crime, and I will more than be happy to talk to them.
Okay, thank you.
What's your name again?
I'm Lisa.
Lisa, what's your last name?
What is your name?
What's your name? I'll say it's Lisa. What's your name, sir? What's your last name, sir?
What is your first name, sir?
I'm not answering. I'm not talking to you. You're talking to me. I'm asking you questions.
Well, we're not doing anything illegal.
Neither am I.
Actually, you are actually.
Oh, okay. Well, then call the cops.
We will do.
Lisa and Robert.
Yeah.
I'll be right here.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. And that, people, is why Black Lives Matter. That's Karen, and she's calling the cops. And this is going to be really funny. Because she knows the people who live here. Personally.
Ever talk to me like that, you're gonna get your ass kicked by my family. They're gonna fuck you up. What did I do? They're gonna fuck you up. What did I do? Because you are an asshole. But look at the whole stairs to yourself. You had these. Why don't you go somewhere else where you can go to a gym? This is not just for you. Get the fuck out of this world. Get the fuck out of this state. Go back to whatever fucking Asian country you belong in. Okay, racist. Fucking bitch. This is not your place. This is not your home. We do not want you here. You put that on Facebook. I hope you do. Because every fucking person will beat the crap out of you from here on out. Don't you here. Just take this off my grass.
Stop spraying on top people's stuff.
That ain't your stuff. That's the grandmother. Get off my shit.
Bro, we can't finish this shit out here. Oh, damn, we got to watch this. No,
You ain't staying. You're not allowed to come in here and watch. And you're not allowed to be on my property. And you're on my shell garden ruin it. And then I'm gonna sue your ass.
Bro, where's Trent? He said he on his way, bro.
Yeah, he on his way. He's gonna struck a check for $200 when he gets here.
It's 104 Old Ocean View Road Avenue.
It ain't 104, it's 103. Are you 35? Have you paid for this one?
Did you pay for it?
It is not booked until June fucking 1st.
Okay, Karen.
So there is no right for you to be here.
Okay, Karen.
I am not fucking Karen.
Oh,
There is
no,
no
okay.
right for you to be here.
Okay.
You're fucking disrespectful. Go to your own lawyer.
Okay, who is
You
this
have to
person?
tell me that that's your name and all fucked up. You
Okay.
can't get in your own blood.
Okay, be quiet. Just be quiet.
Before you're both your own fucking story, you wanna.
Okay, we got you. What else do you want?
You know what?
We're being really nice to you.
This is
You
ridiculous.
ain't nowhere.
You're being really nice. You screamed at my daughter.
I screamed at her.
I told you to be like.
Quiet. Yeah. So who's screaming? Really?
Get the fuck away from us! You are not respecting our boundaries!
We got 16 here.
You're not 6 feet from ours! Oh, get away!
Okay.
On Mother's Day?
Yeah.
A boat?
Oh.
Go in.
Okay, what's the problem?
That's also my dog!
Oh, really? Your dog? Why are you like that?
Because on Mother's
We're
Day,
being so nice to you.
no, you're not! This is not your fault! If you paid for your boat here, there would be no issue, sir. Yeah! Go to your own. What number? This is 35!
Really?
Just go to your own.
So what's the problem with 35?
That you do not fuck this fucking slut! Get away!
So what if I have 35? Don't hit me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Just don't touch me. Don't touch me. So, what is the problem, man?
You need to leave!
Be quiet. Be quiet. Just be quiet. She's...
Can you tell me what your name is and which
What's your fucking voice number?
I wouldn't... Who are you?
What's your name, son? What is your name?
I don't give a shit about what my name is. I don't have to give my name.
Rex!
I don't have to give my name. Look. Okay, alright. So now I'm gonna call the police on you.
Dangerous white women exposing the rage, part 1. And that's just a few clips. You all see them all the time. White women, the 90%ers, out of control. This is what happens when you don't discipline your little girls and your little boys. This is what happens when you let your children run amok in the house. And by the time they're 4, they're flipping you off and calling you all out your name and running the whole damn house. And next thing you know, there's a high level of violence and rage associated with them because there has never been any type of discipline at all. Just a free spirit running loose in your home, entitled to everything in your home. And then they get out in the world and think that that shit will fly with other people who have been trained, who have been disciplined, who have been reared, who have had to suffer the consequences of their actions even as a little child, who has been told yes, no, and have been given boundaries, which every child desires and needs. You run into one of us and we ain't having none of that shit. None of it. That last clip of that girl, if you could see it, she was possessed. I told you it's spiritual wickedness in high places. She was off her rocker, spitting, drooling, resorting to violence, and that man did not hit her. Now, if I would have been that man's wife, I would have beat the shit out of her. She would have been falling through the dock. Okay, they would have had to get the dive team to come and get her. It would have been serious. Because you don't get the opportunity to rage out on me the way you raged out on your family members and your mama, cussing your mama out, acting a damn fool wherever you went, because there has never been any boundaries. That's what we are seeing. The 90%ers have never, ever been disciplined. They grew up with no structure. They grew up with no consequences. They grew up without proper rearing, and they were taught hate. And the 90%ers accepted it. Raging, out of control, entitlement, lying, pretending like somebody has hit you with their car. Oh, he hit my foot. That never did. You lie. You white women, the 90%ers, you all are liars. Professional, pathological liars. Always starting shit, but then want to scream that somebody attacked you. That's that bullshit. That's that stuff that's recorded. That's why we record you. Because if we don't, then you're going to do the same shit that Emmett Till's accuser did. That's why we record. And even in the era of recording, in the technology and the advancement of film footage, you still get off, you 90%ers. The evidence, probable cause, forget it. There is circumstance, there's evidence right in front of your face, and you still get off. You still want to know what George Floyd did to make the cops act like that. That's the level of ignorance that resonates within your bosom. You want to know what he did. While your 90%er, your family member, had his knee on his neck while the others sat there and held him down. I still to this day do not know why the people around did not whoop them police officers' asses. They ain't even police officers. They're cops. There is a difference between a police officer and a cop. A police officer protects and serves and takes his job description and his duties with seriousness and fairness and compassion and does his job right. Salute, because not all police officers are bad. I will never say that. But you cops, you roguish motherfuckers, because that's what you are. Strong language, I had to get it out. But you roguish ones, you roguish ones, you're cops. You know what a cop is? You know what a cop stands for? Cop stands for can't operate professionally. Can't operate professionally. That's who killed George Floyd, that spirit within you. I don't understand why we did not bum rush them cops. Fuck a film footage if there's no action behind it. And yeah, there's action now, but here we are in a situation where, why didn't they bum rush the cops? Then I saw a clip of George Floyd's girlfriend, which means he was single. His girlfriend is white. She spoke out about what happened to him. And I played that clip over about 4 times. Listening, discerning, observing. And it did not sit well within my bosom. Something was not right. And then I thought about it. And here's where my theory comes in. And I am willing to be wrong. I just thought about the town that they live in, the times that we have been living in, the spirit of hate that still resonates to this day within the 90%ers. I thought about how the 90%ers are cops, how the 90%ers are in politics. Then I thought about the town again, and what is the climate? How small is the town? And how many cops are there? Not police officers, how many cops? Then I thought about that man, I can't even say his name, that devil who had his knee on Floyd's neck. And I wonder how many times prior to that incident that he saw George Floyd and his white girlfriend riding around town, in the store, in the mall, in any type of common area where they patrol. And I wondered if that particular cop had it in for Floyd. Then I wondered, is there any type of relationship between the cop and Floyd's girlfriend? Not an intimate relationship, hear me, but knew each other. Because when you have that type of aggression in your knees on somebody's neck, that was personal. It was personal. And you did it for 8 minutes and some seconds. And still, there are the 90%ers that laugh and still victimize and hunt and seek out my people. 12 tribes of Israel, God's chosen people, you still do it. There is no rest for the wicked, first off. There's a time coming, soon, when you're going to reap everything that you've sown. To the 90%ers, I'm so glad I'm not you. It must be hard having to keep up all that bullshit. You know why I can walk around with joy even in the midst of this climate, still cognizant of the pressing issues, still definitely supporting and advocating my 12 tribes of Israel because I love my people. I don't have to go home with you. I don't have to get in the car with you. I don't have to eat with you. I don't have to do anything, fellowship. I don't have to do anything. But you will always be you. That's your punishment. You are your own punishment. You got to look at yourself, lay with yourself, eat with everything. It's you. The people who encounter you get to leave from you at some point prayerfully, hopefully alive. But I'm going to just say this. I'm all for calling the police when you need to call them. But when you're trying to call the cops, that's a different story. I will call the police. If you threaten me, if you violate me, if you abuse me, if you do anything to me, and I don't care if you're from the 12 tribes or not. So if you don't want that to happen, don't put yourself in a position for it to happen. I will exercise my rights wisely. But for those of you who use the police, for those of you who call cops on the 12 tribes of Israel, you're going to reap what you sow. And the reproach is already in your bosom. The 90%ers need to hear this. Reverse servitude is coming. Hear me. Donald can't stop it. The Democrats, the Republicans, the liberals, the Green Party, the atheists, nobody can stop it. You don't have the power to do it. All of your power is permissive power. But you don't have all power. You're not omnipotent. You're not omnipresent. You're not Jehovah anything. And you're not the chosen. You are the nations. We are the 12 tribes of Israel. From the tribe of Judah on down. We are Israelites. That's who we truly are. So to you dangerous white women, full of rage, the reproach is in your bosom. Donald Trump, please come and get your nieces, your aunts, your sisters, your mamas. Get all of these white, dangerous white women. Come get them. Oh, wait a minute. They working for you? Because from what I understand from one of those clips, in the Walmart where those two black girls had to deal with that dangerous white woman who kept talking about black people being on welfare and that's why we always get killed. She said, Donald Trump, come get them because they are proactive. Well, what does that mean? Proactive. Okay? So when I heard that proactive word, I wrote it down. Then she said they're acting like animals. So there we go again with obviously thinking that we're animals, 3/5 of man, and looking at us the lowest on the totem pole when we're really the chosen people and the superior races. Then you said that they are proactive. So is there a secret meeting going on? Are there secret web chats and secret types of thought process that are being introduced and invoked into the quote unquote white community, the 90%ers? Is this word proactive something that you all have labeled our people as being because we are tired of your shit? They're proactive. They're proactive. Damn. Do you understand how powerful we are to make people act like this? It's truly pathetic. Karens. They call you Karens. I call you crazy. I call you crazy and I call you the 90%ers. And I hold back no punches. If you are not of the 12 tribes of Israel and you listen to this podcast because you don't like me, thank you, because those streams are filling my pockets. I really thank you so much. And if there are any people who were offended in any way, shape, or form by what I said, I don't apologize for anything. I told you from the beginning, you did not have to listen. I will never hold back any punches. There was nothing racist I said. There was nothing rude I said. I stated facts and the truth, and that's just what it is. It hits you like a gut punch, and so be it. If the behavior was not present, then I wouldn't have to make the comments that I make. So fix your end, and then I'll have something else to speak about, because this is the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that inspire, impact, and evolve. Not only that, they create. I was over here thinking about something, you all brothers and sisters. I'm going to mess up my own outro. The Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds, for people who create, inspire, impact, brothers and sisters, and evolve. This is part 1 of the Culture Climate. Tune in next week to part 2. We're not finished. There's more to cover. We're going to be speaking about the Emmett Till situation. I did my research and found an audio clip that it disturbs it's some of the commentary that a specific historian made about his research on the Emmett Till story, and his arrogance that kind of really just, but I also have some other clips to go along with this. We're going to continue to expose the rage in these dangerous white women, these 90%ers that are loose with, Ayana, don't body shame, but some of the strangest shapes I have ever seen. Just being real, some of the most flumpiest of situations. They're very couch potato-ish type nisses. Just being real. I feel like if you are going to go out terrorizing people, at least be presentable. Because only thing you're doing is adding to not even the stereotype, the confirmation of what the crazy Karens look like. The dangerous white women, the 90%ers. Okay? The ones that throw the rock and hide their hands. The ones who didn't get hit by a car but said that they did. The ones who throw themselves on cars. The ones who follow black men and harass them. The ones who go home and tell their white husband that a black man did something to them, and then they go out and they lynch them. We're talking about you, dangerous white woman. The one who thinks that all black people are niggers. The one who thinks that all black people need to go back to Africa. The one that thinks that Donald Trump is God and he has given you the permission to go out and terrorize and seek out to destroy all of the 12 tribes of Israel. We're talking about you, dangerous white woman, the 90%er who teaches her children how to hate, the dangerous white woman who more than likely IQ is less than the size of, no, I won't even say that, whose IQ is probably 5. To the entitled dangerous white woman who thinks that she can hit people with their car, tell people to speak their own language, to go back into their country, to raise a hissy fit, while all of you all, for the most part, you do look like Donald Trump. Most of you do. I don't know what's going on here, but I am just saying. And I'm not responsible for your president. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I have learned on this journey on my way out. When I was younger, I wanted to be president of the United States. I used to tell my mom, I'm going to be president, because I have a good heart and because I wanted to do righteous things. But as I got older and I sat back and learned what the political system is about, how the genesis of the political system, the intricacies, the spiritual wickedness and the principalities that run it, I said, no, thank you. I'm too good to be president of the United States. And that is when I was able to discover and be saved. And then I have a master, so I know I will never even attempt to even go into office. But I have learned this. All the corruption, the bad decisions, the economy, the poverty, the oppression, the depression, the pharmaceutical companies, and all of the money that's tied, all this wicked money that's tied into how they do what they do. You made me only want Jesus the Christ more. You only made me want to desire for him to crack the sky, come back, burn this earth, and establish a new Jerusalem. You only made me crave Jesus the Christ more. You only made me appreciate him even more. You made me bow down even deeper to his majesty and his throne, because it takes you going through some bad things to want something good. So that's why I will never vote. I have a savior. I have a leader, owner, ruler, and deliverer. And his name is Jesus the Christ, and he is a black man. Thank you for listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. Tonight's episode, part 1 of Dangerous White Women, Exposing the Rage. I am Sister Speak, and the time has been well spent. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you listen to the tour on IG Live Saturday, June 27th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. My special guest will be B. King Loso. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have a hip-hop taste test. Oh my goodness, everything going up, because anything going down is crashing. And I hope you tune in. Please, 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 all of my listeners from all of the countries that listen, you are invited to tune in live at SGT Queen on Instagram, at SGT Queen on Instagram. I hope you all send me a wave. Let me know where you're listening from, and let's just get into it. I cannot wait to vibe with you all. Now, y'all know I got to get my face done and my hair and do all this stuff to get everything ready for tonight. And it's going to be a really lit show. So thank you so much for being a mature listening audience. Thank you for understanding that this is strong language. Thank you for understanding that this is for a restricted listening audience. And I meant everything that I said. Everything, brothers and sisters. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will converse with you all later on. Be careful. There are dangerous white women out there. They are the 90%ers, and they are full of rage. Protect yourself at all costs. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. This too shall pass, because everything has an expiration date. You be encouraged.